Skinner. Absolute Radio.
We sit in a small basement studio in Golden Square, London. Me and my two friends, Alan Cochrane and Emily Dean. And I...
Hello, Mr. Radio.
Look at my two friends and think to myself, let us commence on another short journey in which we and our cyber comedy chums go wandering into the wilderness. Who knows what we may find? Yes, this is Not the Weekend podcast under the auspices of Absolute Radio.
I loved that opening, Frank. It's quite peepsy
It's
Thank
very
you very
much
much.
so. And I like the you calling us your friends. We prefer cohorts.
Okay, I'll do. You know, it's off the cuff, black country stuff.
It
I
is.
have to, it doesn't always come out perfect.
I've seen videos like that. Disgusting. Frank, we've had an email in, and I like it when they email in.
Yeah.
Well, I like any sort of proof that we're being listened to.
I like any sort of contact.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. You know, a reference in the street, anything of that nature.
This is from...
I don't mean the street. I don't mean anyone saying, oh, Jack, have you been listening to that Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio? That would be too much to hope for.
No.
This is from Beth, who says, hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. Long-time listener, first-time writer.
Nice.
Just thought I'd tell you a story about my new life. About a month ago...
Hold on, this is not a witness protection programme email, because just be careful what we read out here.
No, we're not allowed.
About a month ago now, I left Nottingham and sped down the country to Brighton to do a degree.
Let me just think. This is her speeding down the country. Ooh, I don't know about the ending. You want to get them brakes into?
Travels everywhere by clown car, doesn't he?
Exactly.
My housemates and I were taking a break from shifting boxes about our suitably squalid abode, and we settled down and put a pan of water on the hob. We'd not yet acquired a kettle.
What a lovely... Is this a student story?
Yes.
Isn't it? I like it. It takes me back.
You have to have fish and chips on the day you move in, don't you? Sure.
Oh,
I think you have to have
yes.
fish and chips if ever you're in Brighton. Any seaside resort.
Fish and chips and champagne, I love that.
Oh.
We were chatting
Yeah.
about general new... Prosecco you can have.
I was thinking sparkling Vimto. You know what they say in Vimto Veritas?
We were chatting about general house things, how much we hated the estate agents, when I was horrified to hear a rather disenfranchised-sounding crowing.
Uh-oh.
That's right. Our neighbour keeps a cockerel, along with 3 dogs and a number of chickens. I've been trying to record the crowing, but the trouble...
This is in Brighton.
Yes, the troublesome beast only seems to crow at unearthly hours. Tell me about it. Or when I'm on the phone. Love the show. Beth.
That does sound like a troublesome cockerel, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think of Brighton as being a big agricultural area.
It's
I must
not
say.
known, is it? You know, when you're travelling through the fens, you don't think, I bet they wish they could get some land by Brighton, do you?
No, I have never thought that, no. When I come through from Liverpool Street Station, the gateway to the fens, as Ian Forster called it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
I call it the cat flapped to Clacton. that's my general reductive manner. All I can suggest, I do know for a fact that the man that does the sound effects for the Archers lives in Brighton.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he could possibly be the neighbour. If she hasn't seen any physical evidence of this menagerie.
Mystery
If there's a
solved.
sound of screaming villagers as an aeroplane plows into a local pub, then was that a plot line? I have no idea.
Oh no, it was Emmerdale, wasn't it?
I'm trying to imagine what a plot line would be for the Archers. I have no idea what sort of things happen in the Archers.
I've no idea because I hear da-da-da-da-da-da and turn the radio off.
Well, exactly.
That's it.
Do you?
I've always said it's not a theme tune; it's an early warning system. Yeah,
So glad we agree on this.
Oh
thought
no,
that might
I
be
love.
contentious.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I love the station it's on. I won't
Yes.
name it, but apart from the Archers, which I will not.
My
tolerate.
heart sinks somewhat as it approaches 7 o'clock.
I don't even know what time it's on. It seems to spring up. It is like an ambush, the Archers. It can come in the middle when you're thinking, "Oh, that was a good programme." I do love listening to this, and you know, I've swerved into the inside lane and caused ructions in my speed to get it off.
And I like this lady's email until the use of the word menagerie. And it's partly because I now have a problem with that, because we once hired an electrician in Manchester to do a full rewire of our new house at the time, and the guy had 2 catchphrases. He didn't consider them catchphrases, but he was a bit of a moaner. You know, when you hire someone to work on your home and then they start moaning.
He had 2 catchphrases?
Yeah, he kept saying...
Was he a character from Little Britain?
He kept saying, it's a nightmare. Oh,
No,
it's
he
a
had 2,
nightmare,
Frank. He had
Okay,
2
oh, sorry.
catchphrases.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And the other one was, you've got a right menagerie of wires up there. A right menagerie of wires.
You see what he'd done? He dabbled with the accepted collective noun for wires.
Yeah.
And also, you're an electrician. Don't come in and be surprised by wires. Wires are what you do. It's your gig, wires. You know, I don't turn up to comedy gigs and go, oh, you've got too many faces in the front row. Do I? I get on with it.
No, you wouldn't.
I certainly wouldn't on my tour.
Can I just say, Frank, sorry to change the subject somewhat, but Alan's sporting, he had a little bit of fuss about his headphones earlier, but he's now sporting some with a gold motif, and there's something of the youthful David Kidd Jensen about him.
I know what you
in
mean.
those phones. They look a bit more, don't you think, Frank?
Oh, if ever a podcast needed a webcam, this is the moment, isn't it?
Well, I think the best thing I've ever heard on radio was during Born in the USA once. You can tell how long ago it was. Kidd Jensen, as he was then called, was on Radio 1, so it's going back a bit. And in the midst of the guitar solo in Born in the USA, or is it sax? Anyway, it's one of the two. In the solo, the sound dips, and David Kidd Jensen just says, "The kid plays the boss," and then puts the sound back up again.
Great.
Turns out it was some inter-age chess tournament that was going on in the corridor at Radio 1. But he didn't give us the details. I had to find that out by my own devices.
Do you play it again like chess fans do, where they read that algebra stuff?
Is that what they... Oh, yeah,
Knight
that
to
stuff.
E4, they play the
Oh,
games.
I wish I could. I can't
They play
play
famous
chess.
games again.
I'd
They
love to be
recreate
able.
them.
It's interesting. I sometimes do that with FA Cups.
Oh dear, and Subbuteo.
If I take an FA Cup from the 30s or something like that, and I don't know how well West... I know when they got to the final, but I'm not so good on semis and stuff. So sometimes I'll go to Wikipedia, I'll go to third round proper, and I'll follow their progress through an FA Cup at random.
Right.
Yeah. That ain't so bad, is he? Doesn't make me a bad person.
No.
I'll tell you one thing about the archers. If I was in the GB archery team in the 2012 Olympics, I would suggest that we came out to the archers theme.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one
I'd like
time I would tolerate it.
Yeah, I like that. I like a boxer coming out to the archers.
Yeah, there used to be a baseball a batter called Albert Bell. Played for the Cleveland Indians, and I went to see them once in Cleveland, and he came, and when he came out to bat, they just used to have this mournful, like, church bell, boom, boom, because he was called Albert Bell. It was brilliant. Loved
Really?
it.
It didn't bring people down too much. It was all right. It wasn't too sombre.
No, I think it was supposed to frighten the opposition, was the
Oh,
idea.
right,
It
like
was
getting in
like
their
something
head.
from a horror film
Like
type
the
bell.
hacker. Yeah.
You're looking so Jensonian. I can barely
Barely
look at
concentrate.
it.
Would it be Jensonian or Jensenian?
Oh, Frank, you're right.
Oh, well,
That's why I love you.
I studied kidology at university. A whole 3-year degree on David Kidd Jensen.
You do seem to have the air of the expert.
Yeah, I had
Comes
to
to
learn
him and the
French
boss.
for the time in his Canadian early days he spent in the province of Quebec.
Did he?
We had to learn French as a supplementary topic, yeah.
So, Frank, I'd like to talk to you about my week, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually been helping my dad out this week with a few domestic chores.
Oh, lovely.
Well, it's not all Premiers and Premier Leaguers in my life, Frank.
No,
Sometimes I will help out my old dad.
that's nice.
Yeah. And this week he was getting a mobile phone. We talked about late to the
Nice.
party on the show last week, and
Yes.
that really is quite late to the party.
That
Or is
is,
it his
yeah.
first?
His first mobile phone.
I feel there's already bottles and cake in bin liners outside the house when he's turned up to the party.
It's a giant one, Frank. It's like a Fisher-Price phone.
Oh, is it one of the big buttons ones?
Yes, it's got big buttons.
We were talking about those
Yes.
the other day, weren't we?
It's very satisfying. He can't work out yet that I keep saying, Dad, don't turn it off. Don't turn the power off. He said, but then I'll run up a bill. I said, no, you won't. It's fine. You won't run up a bill just by having it on.
It's a shame. I mean, I can't find my mobile. How an old age pensioner finds their mobile, I'll never know. You know, I know old age pensioners can't find their landline.
Yeah.
So I was on the phone to the man from the mobile phone provider, and I'm trying to set my dad up on it.
Yes.
And I'm saying, so the man's asking all the questions, very nice man. And then eventually said, what's your father's date of birth? And I couldn't remember the year. I just had a momentary lapse. So he's standing next to me. I said, Dad, what's your date of birth again? And my dad says, 1933, the year Hitler rose to power.
Good, I like it.
I thought it was extraordinary. And the man on the other end of the phone heard it and went, oh dear. Yes.
Oh, he's reliving that moment all over again.
He said, oh dear.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite...
Well, that's
the whole
because-
thing was so bizarre.
That was a bit of a spoiler alert. Wasn't it? I don't want people to know. It was, there might be people who don't know how it ended. Hitler coming to power. No, you've ruined it for them.
I like that my dad used this, though, as a kind of identifying clause, as if everyone would be aware. So what wasn't even, politically as significant as, 1934.
It would work for me because my Hitler calendar is very near to my telephone. So I often give an anniversary, a Hitlerian anniversary as a way of clarifying something.
But I like the fact that that's obviously my dad's has
Can
been
I just say
saying-
this month's picture? I can't quite work out. It's a picture of Hitler holding an outsized pair of trousers out in front of him, like he was involved in some sort of Slimmer of the Year thing. It's obviously a part of the Hitler history that's just slipped by now, but I'm imagining there was a period of fat Hitler, and then he got some publicity. But the big trousers picture?
Yeah,
he's doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
Sure, it's
Holding
not a
the-
Chaplin picture.
No, I'm pretty confident it's unless the armband's the giveaway. That's what I always think. That's how I tell them apart. Bowler hat, armband. That's
That's the checklist, isn't it?
You've gotta have a system.
And
That's my Harry Hill impression. Pretty good. I thought.
and Blondie somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
But I quite like that my dad obviously uses this as his identifying clause. Throughout his life, he's always stated his date of birth and then followed it with the year Hitler rose to power.
No, it's
Also, it
lovely.
doesn't have that much impact on you when you're a baby. It's not
No.
like he remembers this from being... It's like me saying, 1975, the year... I don't know anything that happened in 1975 because I was a baby and I haven't taken the trouble of double-checking it on Wikipedia.
I know.
Do you not know what was number one when you were born?
No.
Oh, I like to know what the nurses
Me
were
too.
whistling.
I always like that. And Vera Lynn did very well. in
Yeah, she
my
did.
year.
God bless her.
Well,
But I realise I do this because when I say my name on the phone, you probably don't have this, Frank, and I'd be intrigued to know because people probably say, oh, is that as in Frank Skinner when you're saying your name, and then you either admit or you toy with them. But I
Yes,
always...
It's not a very good identifying clause, is it? Yes, it's Frank Skinner, as in Frank Skinner. It's a bit haughty, to say.
as in remover of skin. Skinner.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
as in very open remover of skin.
Well, I used to say when I was younger, I thought this was quite cool. I'd say, yeah, it's Emily Dean, like James Dean. Because I
Good.
thought that sounded quite cool. Except once, when Jamie Redknapp, I was on the phone to him.
Clang.
And he was getting me some tickets to a Liverpool game. And he said, all right, Emily, yeah, what's the surname again? And I said, Emily Dean. And I thought, I'll localise it to make it more special for him. And I said, as in Dean Saunders. I thought he'd be
good,
impressed.
Good.
Guess what name the tickets were in when I
Dean
turned up at Anfield?
No.
Emily Saunders.
And now he's one of the country's leading pundits. How did that happen?
Well, I think
Frank-
there's some others disgraced.
What do you do that? So when you're on the phone and you're having to do the odd domestic thing, would you say, when you say it's Frank's, it's Skinner, do they say, oh, as in Frank Skinner? And do you fess up? Do you have identifying clauses?
Well, I don't so much have an identifying clause as a personal assistant
This is
who
true.
makes all these phone calls on my behalf. And I've heard her. She refers to me as her boss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not as in the kid plays the boss, but yeah. So I don't really. I used to. When you're mentioned in the paper, you have an identifying clause often. So I used to be TV funny man,
Right.
Frank Skinner, and then I became TV man, Frank Skinner, and now I'm just man, Frank Skinner. So I've used it to chart my career decline. But at least, I don't know, what is Chris Evans called now? He's not still Madcap Broadcaster, is he?
No.
Broadcaster.
Just Mad Broadcaster.
Mad broadcaster.
Yeah, I don't know, perhaps he's just Broadcaster now.
Yeah, he might be. He might be.
You went a bit serious there. Yes, you're right.
I've
I'm not sure
occasionally
about
told
that.
people that
I always
I'm,
panic when we talk about Chris Evans, because I just think he's going to come marching in there in his polka dot shirt with a
I don't know if he
machete.
marches, does he?
I don't think so.
No, I imagine he blusters in.
He won't be in this bit of town anyway. I sometimes qualify Cochrane. I say Alan Cochrane like Eddie Cochrane, but with an E on the end.
See, that's a terrible qualifier.
It's not a great qualifier.
You don't want
And
a
also,
qualifier with brackets.
I mean, my name's a minefield anyway, because I have to say Alan with a U, A-L, no, just one L. You know, it's there's too many qualifiers. It's the Welsh spelling, but I'm not Welsh. It just takes forever.
Yeah.
You see, I used to know this guy, and his surname was Rose, and every time he'd be on the phone to someone, he'd say, "My name is Rose, R-O-S-E, like the flower." And his girlfriend used to physically, I mean, she used to cringe every time he said it. I think that's what did them for them in the end.
Well, he was being helpful. I don't see anything wrong with that. He's picked something that people will know. I don't know how many people would remember when Hitler came to power. If they ever knew. I mean, let's put it that way. If they ever knew.
My mum does a qualifying thing where she will discuss certain friends and attach place names to them if there are other friends, so that she's got a friend that she calls Huddersfield Jeanette, as opposed to the other Jeanette.
Oh, I like Huddersfield Jeanette.
Yeah, it's good,
That's
isn't it?
brilliant.
Huddersfield Jeanette. And
It sounds like a brand of carnation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a lovely bunch of Huddersfield Jeanettes. No,
So that's
she
weird
sounds
for me,
great.
'cause I know. But it would be a risk for me to start putting qualifiers on friends, because then it'd be like, you know, I was talking to Dave the other day. No, not gambling Dave, the one that drinks too much and gets a bit aggressive, that sort of thing. You know, you don't want that.
No, you want something a bit more economic than the one who drinks too, but yeah.
Pithy. Boozy Dave or gambly Dave.
Just angry Dave.
Angry Dave.
What about comedy Dave? Oh, it's been used.
No, it's been done. And Big Dave. Everyone's got a Big Dave in there, mate. Haven't they?
I haven't.
No, I don't.
All right, fair enough. Not everyone. I stand corrected.
I did have, but he hanged himself. But thanks for bringing it up. Yeah. We're not quite big enough, as it turned out. Okay, anyway, what else?
Emily's got a bit arthritic claw on that.
I'll tell you what else. I've been reading about supermarkets this week,
Have
Frank.
you?
Strange, you may say. Why have you gone so Wintonian? I'll tell you why.
Yeah?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because I was interested in some statistics that were knocking around. Apparently you spend 64 days of your life supermarket shopping.
I don't.
Well, you don't.
Okay. But I actually quite like it. Go on, carry on.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, there are other statistics. Apparently you travel 22,000 miles to and from the store.
You do.
No, you do.
No, you do.
And 1 in 20 people look for deals on price comparison sites, which I just thought, I wouldn't do that. Yeah,
They
before
actually
going shopping.
go compare.
Someone does it.
So the idea that someone goes and compares, having been told by that bloke, that terrible song, to do
Yeah.
it, I wouldn't go compare under any circumstances, in any context. I just don't compare anymore. I still do a bit of comparing, but if he starts singing "Go Compare," I'll have to stop that as well. I love. I tell you what, it's a great delight of mine. I don't have many acquired skills. I can't ride a bike. I can't swim. I can't roller skate. I can't ski.
You're a TV funny man, though.
Well, I'm a man.
Yeah.
And what I have got quite good at is packing my bag in a supermarket.
Oh, no way. Have you got a system?
Well, it's sturdy on the bottom.
I'll
so
say.
I sort of go, tins or cartons on the bottom.
Yeah.
I know you want to put those crisps in. Leave them be.
And
Yeah.
you're moving your way up to damageables.
Moving them in so you get some of the sturdy plastic stuff with fruit in. That's all right in the middle layer. It's the closest I get to doing a Sudoku. It's just
Frank,
at the end of it. It's
What do you put on the top layer, just out of interest?
well,
Coriander.
It'll often be snack food.
Yeah,
Because
right.
it's a delicate beast at the best of times. Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll I'll actually strengthen one side of the bag with a newspaper and magazine.
Oh,
so that when I lay it in the
ballast.
car...
I love ballast.
Yeah,
Very
it hasn't
clever.
got, like, my wheel jack isn't digging into the side of my sliced bread.
A bit like when people put old doors in the side of a skip so that it's all pushing.
It makes the
upwards.
skip even bigger.
Gives them an extra 3 feet, I'd say,
Yeah.
if not more.
You're always one with a skip tip. I love you for
When
that.
I go shopping, I have a carb alarm fitted to my basket sometimes, which sounds quite shrill. Yeah, it sounds quite loudly. If I'm approaching anything like a bread counter or a French fancy,
Oh, really?
that starts ringing.
I am king of the bargains to the point where my wife doesn't really like it if I do the food shop, because I come back with lots of stuff with yellow and orange stickers on it saying, oops, eat me now. Basically, the closer something is to free and poisonous or off, then the more likely I am to buy it.
No, I'm with you on that.
Oh, I love a reduced pork pie on the way home from a supermarket shop. Love it.
Yeah, I tell you what I enjoy in the supermarket is I would have loved. I was obsessed with the Wild West as a child, and that time when people went out there, you know, they just got in wagons and they bravely went out to find some land and somewhere to live and somewhere they could farm, take on a new life, to try and tame the wilderness a bit. You know, great courageous pioneer spirit. And when I put up the second food separator on the conveyor belt, you know, the other person will often put one. When I put the second food separator, you know, the purchase separator, so you've got I think I stand at the one I've just put down and look to the other and think, all this is mine.
I love your sort of frontier building.
Yeah, I don't see it as I'm calling it a liberator more than a separator. Some people, they see it as a negative thing, and, oh, that's where my stuff stops, you know, but I see it as, you know, well, this land is your land, this land is my land.
Yeah,
It's like
But,
that.
Frank, there are rules surrounding that separator. I don't like it when people touch my separator.
No, well, you've mentioned this to me before, never on air. But yes, it sets my teeth on edge. But
Frank,
you know
what I mean? I don't like
no,
it.
I hate a bedroom prankster in general.
Frank, we're back in the supermarket now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like it when they push it forward.
No.
I just think, no,
I won't have that.
Leave it well
no.
alone.
Well, I nearly always anticipate that by putting mine as close to my food as possible. So I just think there's no wriggle room here. There's no...
No hands.
buttressed. It's
no
right up
hands this
against the-
side of the separator.
It's right
Pilgrim.
up against the tins of tuna there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't give them no space.
Like
Yeah.
tins of tuna in my shop.
Oh, I won't have that. I tell you, I'm a man who's always looking for symbolism in life, and I think we all feel sometimes estranged from our environment, like an outsider, like a stranger in a strange world. And I always think that's brought home when you're walking past, say, the pasta shelf, and someone's put a packet of Scourers on there.
Yes.
I don't know how that happens. I don't know the level of indecision that someone could think I want Scourers, and then way over by the pasta think, do I want Scourers? No, I don't. Am I going back? No. I'm putting them with the pasta.
Yeah.
But on one occasion, I remember it wasn't those two items, but let's say it was pasta. And I remember I got the pasta and I thought, that saved me going over to the scouring thing. So it was a happy coincidence.
Talking of that, Frank, do you observe the geographical layout of the store in terms of when you're making your purchases? For example, vegetables first. I don't. I dart all over like a mosquito.
I know, I follow the signs.
Yes, I thought you would.
Yes.
Alan, you're very sign following.
I just have a trolley and wander about and have it when it's there.
Do you do every aisle?
If I'm doing a big shop,
I do the
I'll do
alcohol aisle, and I'm never going to buy anything down there.
I love the fact you do the alcohol.
That is the classic example of a walk down memory lane. I just run. You know, you see those kids dragging a stick along the park railings. I do that with my fingernails along the 4-packs. Oh, if only. I have been known to just slightly raise a ring pull before now.
No.
Yeah.
I judge others as well.
I know
according to
that.
what's in their bag. No,
Do
but
you?
specifically, well, I'm very aware. I don't want because I like the odd treat. And sometimes it might be down that very aisle you speak of.
Yes.
But I don't want my basket to look too Kerry Katona.
No, I know what you
Do you know what I mean? So I'm conscious of putting vegetables in there just so that it looks socially acceptable. I want my basket to look middle class.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know about you. I
truly
always
noble.
look down my nose at the people who are paying at the cigarette counter. It's a cheaper end, let's face it.
We once did an online supermarket food shop back when I lived in London, and they delivered the same food shop twice, and we phoned them up and they went, "Oh, it's our mistake, just keep it." And so we had 2 lots of and we'd done a massive online food shop in order to get a load of stuff.
Oh, it's like God's bog off.
Oh, it was honestly, it was unbelievable the amount. Mrs. Cockerell had to take a day off just to cook up all this perishable stuff. It was unbelievable.
A day off?
I'm only kidding, but there was loads.
That.
I mean, we'd double ordered already, so sometimes we had like 4 things.
Did you consider giving things to the local poor?
Yeah, me.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
No, we did. It was good. Anyway, I saw a weird thing last week after the show, making my way back home to the north.
Oh, yeah.
At the traffic lights, I saw a man flossing whilst driving. In his driving seat, he had one of those long plastic, like they look like a little catapult-y thing.
Oh,
I know those ones.
Long thing.
What, like a little bow for a bow and arrow is what they look like.
Yeah. And he was giving the back a good old floss whilst at the traffic. I mean, that
I respect him because I don't floss enough, and my dentist is always telling me I don't floss. Oh my God.
broken chair.
The fact that I don't floss enough has caused the Cochrane to tear the arm from the chair.
No, I'm with you. I don't.
We should. I'm told we should.
I'm told.
What are you going to do with the arm now, Cockerell? You're going to put it on the floor?
I'm just going to put it down there, and we'll remedy it later.
Can you operate on a one-arm chair?
Yes, I can do that. I can do it. Stalwarts that I am. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the flossing for several reasons. The pain, the fiddliness, the smell, and the goo. That little...
I think you've summed up all the cons of flossing.
The runny putty goo things.
No!
Gross,
I have one other thing.
No!
Maybe that's why he was doing it in the car. Perhaps he's one of those people that sticks the ornaments to the dashboard using the runny putty.
Oh.
Cab driver photo of grandchildren.
No, I'll tell you what a thing I find with the flossing is that my teeth gaps seem to have a sort of a cat flap thing on them. In that the floss goes in, but it won't come out.
Oh, no.
I've had to cut floss before now. To get I've had to
some nail scissors or
I've
something.
had to cut it because I don't use the bow and arrow when I do floss. I use the never-ending stream from the little container.
I use the never-ending stream.
But sometimes I'll get up to a gap. Yeah, when I come to pull it out, I can't find the way out.
Oh no!
It might still be lurking in there.
What?
Or some of the old floss bits.
Oh no, I don't. I think I've
pull the thread right through.
I think I've brushed it down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, it's a weird
is
thing
it
to legal?
do in the car. I'm not sure.
You can't use your phone, but I've never heard flossing. I bet the flossing is on no statute.
It's a grey area, isn't it? As well as a sort of a grey putty. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
No.
Of that. But I don't actually really approve of public displays of grooming. Like I've mentioned this before. I get annoyed when people trim their toenails on the train. I've heard
Nobody does that.
Oh, well, I've had it happen to me 2, if not 3 times. That people have been clipping in the quiet coach as well, of all places.
What do you travel on the Marrakesh Express?
No, literally.
Some of them flick off and go into the wooden chicken cages.
Saw a woman painting her nails on the train the other day.
That's unforgivable.
Imagine.
I mean, you think that's
Imagine
fine?
someone who'd do that.
That's fine.
That's unacceptable because that gets on my chest.
Yes.
It really does get on my chest.
Which girls are you going to see?
I thought you were just saying a polite version of you being annoyed, but you mean it makes you breathe funny.
No, Frank's got a weird thing about nail polish.
I love to see it on, but I won't have it on in a closed space.
We have to do it in private.
I think that's fine.
That's why people have balconies, isn't it?
Yeah,
I tell you what I haven't seen for ages. Something I used to, when I first started dating girls, one of the first things that excited me about the Vive la différence between men and women was this thing of putting wads of cotton wool in between your toes when you're...
yes.
So they're really, really spread out for the painting.
I wind it through like a snake, a soft snake. That's also done as well, yeah.
Oh, no, it's
separating.
But you wouldn't do it while driving. I think while driving, you've got to be a bit careful what you're doing. I mean, I always have sweets in the car.
Do you?
I never drive anywhere without sweets. And
which ones? Haribo Tankfastic?
Well, no, I don't know. I'm not so crazy. I think I explained the other week that I like a minstrel.
Oh, yes, you did.
But I can do a minstrel one-handed whilst driving, and everything's perfectly fine. Emily, please. Is this Carry On podcast?
You have them in the driver door, the minstrels. Is that where the?
Oh no, I have them in the central, just behind the gear lever.
It's sort of the car equivalent to the grassy knoll, I find, that area.
Yeah, I don't know what is it called, that dip behind the
Yes.
gear lever.
We all know which area we mean.
Let's call it the dip behind the gear lever.
Okay, well,
Seems like.
that's where I keep my sweets. But the other week, I was driving to West Bromwich, and I had a Pez dispenser. And it's not so easy to operate one-handed. I ended up having to sort of bite them. It looked like I was going for the throat of the character head. And it was Ariel, the Little Mermaid. It didn't feel right.
I'm glad it was Ariel, because I know you had a Paul Coyer Pez dispenser as well at one stage, didn't you?
I did. I've always felt, I have to say, that the Little Mermaid is somewhat wasted on a Pez dispenser. Because the whole selling point of the Little Mermaid is the other end, obviously. That's what distinguishes her from all the other pretty ladies in Disney. Yeah, exactly. I combine this with now, in order to make this right, I often have a mackerel lozenge in the Ariel Pez dispenser. But, no, so I was struggling, and you can... I know men aren't supposed to be able to multitask, but... you know, if you think I'm putting CDs in and out, I'm eating, I'm turning up the radio and all that. All these things apparently are okay, but if you're on the mobile phone, it's a no-no.
Yeah.
And do you ever do a hot beverage in a car? I don't understand that.
No, I don't like that.
Those cup holders.
Oh, I do that.
Do you do that?
Oh, yeah, I do that. Yeah.
Oh, Alan.
I got a lift the other week from the Cheltenham Literature Festival, and I had a hot chocolate. And I, in the end, I made him stop so I could pour it out on a lay-by.
Did you?
It was like, it was absolute day. Every little bump, there was chocolate shooting out all over me. It was one of the most dangerous and frightening experiences of my life, being in the back of a 4x4 carrying a hot chocolate.
Oh, well, there you go. You're in a 4x4 and the hot chocolate was too hot.
Well, we were going cross-country at this point.
Like you could have popped it in the drink holder and left it for a good half hour and it'd have been lovely.
Yeah, I
got yourself on firm road.
I couldn't locate the drink holder. But, I mean, I'd eat a lot when I'm...
Yeah.
I boned a aromatic duck on the A40. I couldn't help it, stepped out right in front of me.
I always open the sandwich before the journey recommences. I'm very careful like that. I get very tut-tutty about other people's driving, so it'd be wrong for me to then be trying to wrestle with the Marks and Spencer's Simply Food roast beef, wouldn't it?
And also, those things they come in, you know, the plastic pyramids
yeah.
the sandwiches come in.
Yeah.
I find that, I don't know if this is a calculable thing. I don't know if it's like the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sides of the square on the two adjacent sides. But I find that one side of that sandwich, especially when they're in side by side, fits very neatly in the dip behind the gear lever. So they will sit there like a little wedge. If I drive quickly with the passenger and my door open, I can make those sandwiches part just with the wind.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.